Welcome to my channel. My name is Lana Labonte, and I am here to uplift, inspire, empower, and remind you of your greatness. I am here as a catalyst to ignite the spark within you. So, do you have the keys to your life? Keys. Lots of secret keys. Lots of specialties. We all have a gift. We all have a purpose. But how much have you learned about your inner greatness, your inner power, that infinite potential that resides within you? We're all born into this world and immediately told we are born of original sin. How crazy is that? Like, who came up with these stories? And how did we buy into them? Through social conditioning, through the programming. Because give me a child until the age of 6 or 7 and I will show you the man, said the Jesuits. They know. How do they know? They've been doing this for a very long time. This isn't the first rodeo for any of us. It's whether or not you remember, can reclaim, can go within, tune out from all the noise and the distractions, because what you don't mind doesn't matter. If you mind, it matters. The play on words, the languaging we use is very, very important, because words, thoughts become things. Thoughts become words, words become things, it's put into action and such. Everything in your life, you manifested, you created. And it all began up in here. It may have been influenced from the external noise around you. As such, we all have been influenced from the external world. But we've been equally influenced from our own internal world. The question is, have you been tuned in within to recognize your true power? And when you recognize it, can you claim it? Because what you deny, makes it really heavy on your ability to be powerful in this world, what you came here to do. You know, we are suffering, right? So what creates suffering? It is the attachment to an expectation. It is the attachment to an outcome. It is the attachment to a person, place, or thing. Attachment creates suffering. Can you be unattached? Can you be in this world but not of it? Can you become the witness and just observe? Can you step back from your experiences and see the divine orchestration and how everything has been orchestrated in your favor? Starts in the mind. This is why meditation is so important, because we need to mental floss, clear out the garbage, become clear, you know, get rid of the excess noise that's been influenced from around us, so that we can actually hear with clarity the importance, the priority, the desires, the deepest wants, wishes that we have. Because if you didn't have the thought, you didn't have the desire, what makes you think it wouldn't be available to you? So what I'm saying is that the sparks ignited within you for a reason. You're meant to continue to carry that torch, not to let it burn out. But I think most of us, we lose our steam, we lose our inspiration, our breath, the spirit within. Inspiring is to take in the breath, right? God breathes life into us every single moment we inhale the spirit, the breath, the life force, the sustainer, the maintainer of your existence. That's how much God loves each one of us. Each and every breath you take is an expression of God giving love to you, making love to you. You can interpret it however you like. But most of us aren't even conscious of that. We're not actually present to our own breath. We don't even recognize when we hold it. We gasp for it. We're constricted, restricted. We're short of breath, shallow, cutting off our life support. So when we slow down, if you've been following me for a while, I talk about the breath. The breath is the most important thing. Why? Because the breath brings you into the present moment. And that when we slow down, and by the way, your own psyche likes to hear the sound of your own breath, likes to hear the sound of your own voice. It's all for you. Through and through, it's meant for you. So when we slow down to the gift of the now, that's why it's called the present. When we become present and conscious in every breath we take. You can't be in the future, you can't be in the past, because you have to be present with it in that moment. The mind will try to get clever, it will try to escape, it will create a story, it will create a distraction, it will look for something. This is why they say to close thine eyes and make thine eyes one. That is closing your physical eyes to be tuned into the third eye. Make thine eyes one. And when you do that, that's the intuitive sight. That's the going within. Because everything outside of you is just a manifestation of what you're allowing within you. What goes in comes out. First in, first out. If you took any accounting classes, FIFO, first in, first out. What goes in comes out. What goes up must come down. You know, like really thinking about the languaging we utilize. If you are focused on the negative, you will attract more of that. Because again, where attention goes, energy flows, and our minds are literally the bank where thoughts are stored, and that's your currency, because those are forms of energy. So in this mental bank that you have is your power to manifest abundance, to create. That's a secret code. That's a secret key. Are you ready to unlock it, people? Can you turn the key to your own life and take back, reclaim your power? This is the key. This is one of the major keys that nobody's talking about how you need to literally tune out from what's going on out around you. So much of that is meant to distract you, is meant to hijack you, is meant to steal your life force, your energy, to take your banking, your currency, your attention, because where energy goes, energy flows, and that is what creates what you focus on becomes matter. This is the oldest trick in the book. It's getting you to focus on something that may not even be real, but the more you focus on it, you're a part of the creation of it. It's a collective collaboration. The question is whether or not you're collaborating with the right people. Are you collaborating with the people who are making the world a better place? Or are you fixated on the stuff that is what you don't want to manifest and create? Because equally, if you go along, you create it. If you fight it, you give it power too. And that in itself also creates it, because it needs an adversary. So when you fight against something that you don't want, you're actually essentially giving it relevance, significance. You're giving it your life force. You're giving it your power because you care enough. Anger is a form of caring and giving attention and energy to something. And until you recognize what triggers you and prioritize whether or not you're going to invest your time and energy in it, or you're going to recognize that it's not worth your time and energy. This is the key to healing. It's also trusting in what you're feeling, because what you feel is your truth indicator. What you think, the mind is so darn clever, it will try to convince you. Somebody I read today posted about how the heart is, will, you know, the heart, when you're in love, is so gullible, is so blind, and how you can lose yourself and get hurt. No, bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. You know why? Because the mind's so clever, it'll allow you to blame your own heart when it's the head that got in the way. Your heart will tell you, your physical body will discern, and it will signal to you, hey, this is not a safe environment. This is not a good space to be in. This person's not the right one for you. But your head will override your heart, and then it will cleverly trick you into thinking and believing that it was your heart that got you in trouble because, you know, it can't be trusted because you were in love. No, you were in lust. You were in the mind. You weren't in your heart, because the heart would tell you. The heart will also tell you that it was okay to love that person from the head, because the heart is actually forgiving. It's the head that has to blame. It has to be in control. It has to create the stories and the narratives, the BS, as I like to call it, the belief systems. So when you allow the head to master you, to enslave you to those stories, that's where you've allowed yourself to become the victim of your own persecution. You're not the victim of anyone else. It's the victim of your choosing. It's the choices you make. And there's no such thing as a mistake, because it's just choices. So what you may think is a mistake is simply just a choice. And the moment you recognize you're not happy with the outcome of one choice, you can pivot and course correct and make another one. So you never really make a mistake. You just make another choice to change from where you were to where you want to be. And life is truly just that. I'm not happy here. Let me try over there. I want to go left. Oh, maybe I want to go right. Maybe I want to go straight. When something becomes form, it is showing you where you have given your attention to the most. And that could be conscious, it could be unconscious, it could be deep in your subconscious. If you have an opposing thought of something, let's say, for example, okay, so the law of attraction, this whole, secret, they failed to mention that you can focus on all the things you want. But if you have a demoting, opposing belief that you're not worthy of it, that it's not within your reach, then it's not going to be within your reach. It's actually going to flip on you, because it's like this. You fighting against you. I want this. You're not worthy. I want this. I know I'm worthy. I think I'm worthy. I really don't think I am. It's the little devil and the angel on your shoulders. It's your dark and your light. It's your shadow and all the things good about you. And if you can't embrace both of those and recognize those aspects of yourself, then they will show up outside of you, and you will claim to be the victim of someone else's perpetration, when in reality it all just begins with us. So the mind can become very clever. And why is meditation so important? Because like I said, as I started this, it's got to be the mental floss. You've got to clear out the garbage. If you don't become clear on where your mindset is and what the underlying program is running, then how can you make informed choices? Because on the one hand, you want to say, oh, I know this. Is it intellectual? Is it integrated? Is it wisdom? How many choices have you made where you go, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that? Because you didn't trust your own wisdom, your own inner guidance system. In fact, you went against your own greater good, your own trusting, knowing. Because you have all the answers within you. Everything that you look for outside of you is really inside of you. And when you tune that out and you go within, then you are really on the right track. Because everything outside of you was meant to distract you from what's within you. So this harnessing of our energy, of our power, is to create a world where you're disempowered. And as I've been sitting, because I got channeling in last night that was all about time. I'll talk about that one in a second, but I really just want to read to you everything that came up for me today when I was sitting on the mindset matters, because I've spoken about this in previous videos, and you can go back through my videos and check on them. The mind is what creates matter into form. So the more you focus on something, the more it's going to grow, the energy is going to flow to it. You are so powerful. And each and every one of you out there can create whatever you want and what you don't want. It's just a question of how much you want it. And if you're prioritizing your currency, your valuable energy that's in your mind bank, are you focusing on the things that you want to avoid more than the things you want to actually have or experience? Because when we do that, we shortchange ourselves literally. We are paying for our experiences with the currency of our thoughts, with the currency of our mind. This is a serious key to unlocking your destiny. The one you really truly want, your heart's desire and your soul's yearning and calling. If you can truly tap within yourself and unlock that key, unlock that door, work on you. Stop allowing your energy to go out without a good investment and a good return. Because, like I say, how you invest your energy becomes manifest. So how you invest becomes manifest. And if your attention is going out there, you're probably not going to get a good return on your investment. You given your focus, you're playing an extra in someone else's life movie. You should be the star of your own show, the star of your own life. You are not only the star, but you're producing, you're writing, you're directing. You have the opportunity because you're the author of your life. That means you have authority over your life. Nobody else has that but you. But the moment you start fixating and focusing on something external of yourself that has nothing to do with your current present life, doesn't really have an impact, but in your mind, it's occupying space. That means you're investing elsewhere. So you're shortchanging yourself. So it comes back to what is a real priority and truly what is it that you value? Because what you're valuing is what's getting your energy, is what you're creating. That's the true key. That's a code to unlocking your abundance. You want to unlock that door? You want to really draw in whatever it is. Sunflowers. I manifested these today. I've been wanting the long stem. Sunflowers are the happiest flower. They're my favorite flower. I am a sunflower because they greet the sun. They radiate. They bring joy. They're a happy flower. Do you want to be a happy human? Start working on you. Take back your power. Reclaim it in such a way that you recognize everything that you're focusing on is what you're creating, is what you're feeding. You feed through your energy, whatever it is you focus on. And so when you look around in the world and you see things that make you unhappy, stop to think about what makes you happy. There's plenty of negative stuff out there, but there's equally, if not more, because you know what? This is duality. This is the life we live in. Where there's negative, there's positive. Yin, yang, true, false, bit, byte, ones and zeros, all that lovely stuff. There's polarity. So for the dark, there's the light. And it's up to you to recognize where your energy is being focused, where your attention's going, what is controlling your mind. So you meditate daily by becoming present with the breath. With every breath, you recognize where you're holding tension in your body. You breathe into those spaces, those areas to create space, because when you create space, You allow expansion. You allow the magnetic attraction. Because when you create space, it allows for something to come into you. The heart and the lungs is your magnetic field, is the battery, and the spirit, the breath, is what charges it. So when you get really right with the breath, when you get really good at breathing deeply, then your life becomes much richer. Your body gets oxygenated. It gets fueled. You start to get zzz. Like when you do serious breath work, you don't need any drugs. You don't need any stimulants. That's enough for you right there. You got everything you need within you. You don't need even food. But you know what? We're human. So we're here to enjoy that too. I'm a foodie. I'm here to say that. There are breatharians though. And they live on the breath because everything that they breathe in is nourishing them. It's mindset too. So the idea that the mind wants to grab food is another distraction. It's probably too deep to go into in that conversation right now, but I want you to just consider, what are the patterns that you have that immediately when something arises, if you don't become present to it, and your triggers are basically running the show, your old traumas, they're creating drama. When you reach for a food because you're not paying attention to the mood that just came up. When you're in a mood, typically you'll reach for a food. And that food, because of the energy that the mood created, will infuse that food that reinforces that mood. So again, this is all energy. This is all about focus. It's about becoming present, because the more mindful you are in what's going up in here, and also becoming the witness, observing how, oh, okay, and this is how I normally want to react, but can I just be present and witness that and not actually go into it? Can you pause before your next step, before you would respond or react in those circumstances, those experiences? Because we go through repeated experiences and events. Things trigger us when we're unresolved in certain areas. We have an old trauma that's unresolved. We get triggered at some point. And the person or the thing or the situation that triggers it is just a catalyst to bring it to the surface for healing, for our awareness to confront and have that revelation, the great revealing of what that really truly is, so that we can be good with it, to not let it rule over us and control us. Because what charges you, whatever upsets you, is actually ruling over you. So those old traumas and those wounds that you may still be being traumatized, triggered by, because every time you are triggered by even one small old wound, it's bringing up all of your old wounds. And you're experiencing it all in that moment. But I don't expect everyone's going to be conscious enough to recognize in the moment, oh, this is what I'm feeling, and so I got this, you know? Like, this is a constant work in motion. Life is all about, the more you practice, the more you progress. The more you become aware and mindful of your patterns, the quicker you're able to respond and not react when they do re-arise. And then when you get to a point where you're like, okay, I got this, and then it kind of like rears its head again, and you're like, I got you. I know who you are, and I know what you're up to. I love you. Shoo shoo, go away. I got this. I don't have to do that again. I don't have to relive that trauma. I don't have to re-experience that, experience again, the trigger. So when we become more mindful in the moment, present with our breath, then we also start to tap into our body's wisdom too, because the sensations we feel in our body, even the emotions we think are in the body, are really just a conflict with the mind and the BS, the belief system around whatever that charge, that trigger is that's coming up within us. When we are triggered, when we are re-experiencing the wound, we start to feel it in the body because the body is still holding on to the memory of it. We haven't moved it, which is why movement and running, walking, moving in water is great for cleansing, taking a shower, taking a bath, anything to move, discharge the energy, physical movement, is going to help you become a little clearer, because sometimes we need to shake it off because it's got to reset the nervous system. You know, you see animals, they shake after they have like some sort of a mishap, like cats that fall the wrong way, they get up and they shake themselves off. Or dogs, you know, oh, they ran into a door or something, and they shake themselves off, because that is them resetting their nervous system. We humans don't typically do that, but we have our own ways to discharge that energy, to recalibrate, to reset our nervous system, because most people are fried, running around in chronic stress. That means their nervous systems are not strong. They're not real resilient. They'll snap, you know, in a moment's notice, because they're literally, they're like on the edge. So when your nervous system, which is like a computer, it's the circuitry, when it is fried and you're glitchy, you're not like strong, then you can flick, you know, like get set off in an instant. I like to equate the body, the human, to computers, because believe it or not, they're no different. The heart's the battery, the energy source is the breath, circuitry is our nervous system, the programming is the belief system. We take in data through the 5 senses, through the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, and tactile, touching. Everything is very much nature influences us, and we create things based on nature, and vice versa. We are nature and nature is us. Like, that's that symbiotic relationship that we have. So when nature is showing us natural disasters, beautiful experiences, all of it is experiences that are also energetically connected to us humans. So what we see out in the world, you see a rainbow, right? A rainbow is a beautiful expression that after the storm, there's the rainbow, because it cycles. And just like we go through cycles, we are influenced by the moon, you know, the ebb, the flow. We're about 70 to 80% water. So like, yeah, this is like, it churns things up. And so whenever we have full moons, there are increases in police reports and people going manic, which the word comes from the moon, mania. So we're very intimately connected with everything around us. You can't deny it. You can try, but you just deny yourself. The more you're willing to decode yourself, the more you're willing to go deep and uncover, unlock your keys, your code, the more you know thyself, then nobody can get one over on you. So you have to get your mind right, and that starts with the breath. And in order to get the mind right, you also have to connect the body. The Holy Trinity is the breath, the spirit, the mind, and the body. And with that, it unlocks the intuitive connection to your soul. So the more you become tuned in and tapped into this amazing Holy Trinity, the more you're able to also carry forth your heart's yearning, your soul's desire to manifest, to experience. That the whole purpose you're here is to have this amazing experience, to have all these, I like to say, the melange, the flavors of life, the colors, the textures, the richness, all of it. And the highs and the lows too, not just the highs. Because it's so easy, we've been conditioned to think we're supposed to only choose the good stuff. But if you watched me and you see some of my videos, I explain to you what I've learned through my personal experience. The more you're willing to go for all that goody, gooey, yummy, gooey, yuck, you know, the joy. You're like passion, love. The more you're willing to go all in, you better be prepared. Because equally for what you go in for the good, you're going to be served up the gift of when it's, because everything is fleeting. When that comes to an end, you're going to be given on a silver platter the gift without a bow that says, as a reward for your willingness to go all in for love. We're going to serve you up the most heartfelt pain you've ever felt too. But see, because of cycles, when you recognize that for that much pleasure you were willing to feel, that you're going to receive that much pain, that it will also come around again, because that is a cycle. For the pleasure there will be pain, and for the pain there will be the pleasure. We didn't come here for just the pleasure. We came here to have all of these experiences, to embrace our dark and our light, to really embody this human experience in its richness, in its vastness, in its all craziness. Because when you look around the world, you see things and you just shake your head like, how is that possible? Because people make things happen. What you believe, you can achieve. And just because your vision doesn't match someone else's vision, don't ever poo-poo on someone else's vision. You don't want that done to you. So you want to support others because there's plenty for all of us to go around. There is no competition. There's no need to fight with one another. But we've gotten into that heavy over the years about this whole, oh, this group, that group. You know what? All humans are enslaved right now. And it goes back to time, which is the other part of what I want to go over if I get to it tonight, is that time is our slavery is our master. We are slaves to time. Time is actually our master. It's man-made too. Can you imagine if we didn't have time? How much freer you might be? Did you ever stop to think that time might be the reason we even age? Because we are guaranteed and told the only things certain in life are death and taxes. And they are all reliant upon money, which is currency, which is your energy, which is a an exchange for you. So to be enslaved by time and you're valued by money, it's all the same. Money is actually time. Your blood, sweat, tears, you can't get back. So even to think in terms of, I was born this time and I'm going to pass at this time, like everything's constrained. It's an imprisonment system. But it's only up in here that it even exists. And because on the collective we have, again, collective collaboration, we've all agreed upon it because that's what we were taught. We need the 100th monkey syndrome. You know what that is? It's when at least 100 monkeys break the cycle. You get enough people to disengage from what the collective has agreed upon, and eventually that starts to shift. And that's where we're at right now in the world, is that there are a lot of us who see through what's been going on. We recognize truth within the lies and lies within the truth. And we can discern because we feel the truth within our bodies. We are tapped in. We are tuned into something greater. And we allow that to flow through us. We don't allow that to take us out of our peace, to take us off our straight and narrow clarity. It takes dedication, devotion to you, knowing you, and not letting someone try to distract you or deter you from knowing that is true. Nobody can tell you your truth. Only you know you. Sure, there's a universal truth. There's an individual truth. There's a collective truth. Where you